Hi and good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's session, GradChat. And today's session will be primarily on careers and employability for our graduate students. My name is Tevita Lesuma. I'm the GM for Project Management and Student Engagement at GSA. We welcome any attendees on the call and also all of those listening to the recording that is out on the World Wide Web after this session. So welcome, everyone. I'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation that we meet on here virtually. We pay our respects to the elders, past and present, and recognise their resilience and capacity of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait people of this land. So today I'm really lucky to have some special guests on this call. I have Megan with us, Megan Dench, who is the Manager of Careers Employability at the university, which is part of the Student and Scholarly Services Department. And I also have Vibol Hy, who is our Project Officer underneath the Representation and Support Volunteer Management area of GSA. So very lucky to have both these people on the call to sort of talk through what is careers and employability and the opportunities that are provided by the university, but also about the opportunities and support that GSA is bringing about. And we're going to have a discussion as we go along. So I'd like to welcome Megan. Megan, welcome to the session, and talk to us about your area. And I know you've got a presentation to put up for us, and I'd like to know more, as I'm sure the students would too. So over to you, Megan.
Thanks so much, Tevita, and hello everyone. I really appreciate the opportunity to share with you what we're doing at the university to support students, what's available to you, and what we're seeing at the moment from your fellow students, and what we're hearing from them in terms of their careers and employability conversations. I'd like to share my screen now and just share with you a little bit of what we our service. So I will just bring that up here. Please bear with me. So these are just our standard service slides, so I'll speak to them. We have moved our Careers and Employability Studio fully virtual, and our Careers and Employability Studio is a space where students can come from any degree, any level, any time in their degree to talk to us about their career decisions, their career thinking, their career plans, their career actions, and each student is unique. And graduate students, perhaps even more so, will know that each of you bring your own experiences from work or from personal or pleasure activities. You bring your passions, you bring your connections, and each of them are completely different to everyone else's, even if you're studying the same subjects or even the same course, or you're all looking to work at KPMG. I think everyone brings that unique story, and that's where our service really shines. We're able to see each student individually and talk to you about your individual plans. What we find from students is these things are, well, career planning, as career is a thing that happens across your entire life, and so it's something that is iterative. It requires the individual to really engage with it at different points. It takes time. That's one of the things that we find students don't always recognise and understand, or they don't recognise and understand until they've left their application submission until the last moment. But we're here for you. We have a range of resources available 24/7 as well. While we may not have people available all the time, we certainly have a range of resources that are available to help students at any point in their job application or career development phase.
Sorry, Megan. Sorry, I just had a quick question. You said 24 hours. Was that a change from COVID-19, or has it always been the case?
No, well, we've always had resources that are accessible, so online tools that are available all the time. But we were already on track. So we went through some work last year, customer experience work last year, where we've really, and we had a few more staff arrive, and we changed some of the makeup of the team. So we've had a digital services team team members join us, and part of our work is really to focus on the student experience. It's always been what we're doing, but we're in a better position to make it more cohesive and comprehensive, so that students understand and can navigate it, because it's the way we were presenting our information online in the past has been really difficult for students and staff to often navigate. So the changes that we had that I will talk through are largely, aside from the virtual advising and workshop delivery moving online, were largely all timed to happen just at the start of this year. There had to be a silver lining. So I think that was it, which was we just had a few things that were all timed to happen then. So it's been really great. So I'll share those with you as we go through, if that's okay.
Fantastic.
So as I mentioned, our Careers and Employability Studio is now virtually open, and students can, so where we used to have students being able to drop in and speak to either a peer or a trained peer or a professional staff member, now students can book in for a telephone or Zoom chat. We have the changes that have been made through the COVID-19 changes, I guess the things with the impact, have been that we have made our appointments a little bit longer. And our staff now, because they're booked appointments, will review the notes that students provide and prepare for that session more. So what we're finding is that students coming away from those sessions a bit more, certainly more satisfied, feeling like they've really been able to pick up the conversation at a point that's most useful to them, that it feels very tailored, which has been our intention throughout. So that's fantastic. And so we've got a number of advisors on all the time, and we're having we've had great uptake of that. So we've got, often 2 tracks of advisors, and that the booking details are there for the students to go to. Similar to any of the Stop 1 services, you can find them bookable there.
Fantastic.
And again, that's for every level. So it's not just undergraduate students who need to discover what they're doing. It's also later year students who perhaps are more established in their career thinking, want a more sophisticated refinement of their approaches, really need to have some strategies in place to stand out and to make some key decisions. So make sure they have the things that they need to be informed and make decisions that suit and match their trajectory. So in those appointments, we can discuss all of those things there, which I've listed, that are on the slide. And, we have students as well. So to give you a bit of an idea, we have trained peers as well who are great. Both we have graduate students and undergraduate students. You may have met some of our peer leaders. I know that they're active in GSA as well, and they're fantastic. So they really bring their voice and their experience of going through assessment centres, their experience on securing jobs and internships, which we find is really fantastic for those students, because that's, it normalises it, and that's a really important part of a career development activity for anyone, because pretty much everyone goes through it, and it's important to know that as you yourself embark on that. So moving on from the studio, which is open Monday to Friday, and can be booked really at any time. We do have virtual sessions and workshops, so we've pretty much moved our sessions online. We've also, one of the things we have introduced faster than we had intended to, is small group or sort of group discussions. We've had a lot of interest from students, and we've had a lot of success in those sessions because students are looking for the interaction with each other that is built around a purpose. And it's a perfect time for everyone to, I guess now, while it's not ideal in many ways, it's an ideal time for students to really spend time and reflecting on what they want and preparing their job documents, and really honing their career development pieces, so that when all this opens up again, they're ready to bounce. They're ready to sort of step right in. We know there's a lot of trepidation or sort of anxiety around the market at the moment. It will be impacted. We can't tell, it's not an all rosy story, it'll be fine. We understand that, but, there are certainly things that students can do to better place themselves for that recovery after everything opens up. So it's not all lost. There's plenty students can be doing, and I know that our fellow guests will be talking about those experiences as well. So students can still prepare and accumulate experiences even in lockdown. So we've got a whole range of workshops and sessions available, and I encourage you to look on the Careers Online events section for those things. We've got, thought I'd flag, we've got some graduate researcher suite of workshops and symposiums coming up in second semester. for graduate researchers. We know that many graduate researchers, grad researchers and PhD who are preparing to move into industry, not into an academic track, and often they haven't considered how they'll do that. And so we provide a suite of sessions that we've developed over a couple of years to support students in that thinking, other grad researchers in that thinking and the practical steps that they might need to build a network and approach entry to the workforce with their degree, I guess, or with their research behind them. So perhaps it's quite different to perhaps an undergraduate or just a master's by coursework entry. And I'm happy to share that with you at a later point, but they'll all be on Careers Online upcoming. They'll kick off in July.
Okay.
We obviously have employer events that usually are on campus. We had our Careers Fair at the start of the year, which are usually focused on very large employers, but we'll be continuing to do virtual events upcoming for the rest of the year. Employers have taken a little bit of time to move into that space. They sort of all paused and realised that in the middle of grad recruitment season that they had to all go online. So recruitment practices moved very quickly online. Virtual interviewing and assessment centres were quickly adopted by employers who weren't already using them. But events and promotions have sort of only just started to pick up. So we'll be offering things sort of mid-year onwards, including some virtual fairs and activity. We've got a Focus on China program that happens around the Chinese recruitment season later in the year for those who are looking to work in China after they graduate, and a whole raft of employers will be coming on to talk about it, including small to medium enterprises, which is sort of, we haven't heard a lot from in the sort of current climate. So we're looking forward to that. So we have, back to your question around 24/7, we have a range of resources online that are accessible at any time. So we've got a new website. One of the things that we did was, as I mentioned, update our website from 174 pages. We've brought it down, trimmed it down to a very sprightly 25.
Oh, amazing.
We've not lost any of that content for those who are thinking that they might be missing out on something. We've moved a lot of that content onto and tidied it up and put it onto the Employ.me platform, which I really encourage students to get onto. We have a newsletter on the Employ.me platform, which we've started. So I encourage students to sign up to that as well, where we put in posting articles that are around current issues, but also promoting jobs that are happening and service opportunities. So it just helps students to stay in touch, I guess, with current conversations around careers and their employability. So Employ.me is something that all students can access using their single sign-on, and that's from our homepage there on the students.unimelb.edu.au/careers. One of the great things, and I'll just see where I'm up to in my presentation. Yeah, so one of the things I really wanted to focus on and I'll be quick, sorry, I'm taking a bit longer than I thought, was our Smart Career platform. So this is one of the things that, again, we put in place at the start of the year, and just perfect timing on some fronts. So the university used to provide a face-to-face CV review service. It was quite a heavy resource, but we know that it's really important to students. We wanted to be able to really support students in the tailoring, and that sort of much more, as I described before, the tailored conversations to really more in-depth conversations. So the university has acquired the Smart Career platform, which is, sorry, I've got some background noise here. The Smart Career platform, which is an AI-driven live feedback tool for students to upload their resume and have that happen at whatever time they upload it. So again, it's single sign-on. We've fed the robot with University of Melbourne community CV, so it's benchmarked to the University of Melbourne. So they are sort of matched to what our expectations would be, and students can action that feedback that they're given to sort of improve on a sort of scale of, they sort of get a red, amber, green, and the green indicates that they're really ready for market. And then that gives them an opportunity to then bring in their CV with perhaps a job profile or a job ad or a position description to really talk about how they can refine their application with our staff. So that doesn't exclude them from coming or preclude them from coming to service. We just see it as being another value add for them to do in their own time, when they need it, where they are, and then to access service to complement that and to really sort of help them understand it and progress them as they need. And there's some great features there in addition to this, the resume feedback. There is also some tailoring components to it, so it helps students understand their fit to market to a particular disciplinary area or job area, field. The Aspire functionality is a LinkedIn profile feedback, again AI driven, and the elevator pitches are quite a scary but very helpful detailed feedback on personal pitches and professional pitches, where you record your pitch and it gives you eye tracking and hand movement and enunciation. Wow. You can track how many R's and ums you've had, which I think is really great in the current climate where there are people applying for virtual, doing interviewing online. It's really helpful to actually, you often don't look at that, and it can make the difference if you've got to an interview stage, having a really slick presentation of yourself and being aware of what matters and what you look like can really make you stand out, and that's what's often students are looking for.
Yeah, great.
So, last one, sorry, before I pass back to the rest of the team, is I wanted to share with you about Ask Alumni, and I know we've shared about this before, but Ask Alumni is just relaunched for the year. It's always on, but we always promote to students at particular times of year. This is another one of those activities that students could be utilising in the lockdown that don't require them to go out and have a job, but they can still acquire experiences and build their knowledge and understanding. So networking is really important. We know it's often sought out by employers. Those skills that are related to communication and being able to, talk about yourself and your work are really valued. And this platform allows what this program does. So it brings together our alumni community and our student community to create one-off virtual career mentoring conversations, and it's driven by students. You can go in and use the platform and search through our various alumni who have put themselves in there because they want to assist. So, any reservations students might have about putting themselves out there, for example, on a LinkedIn, you can go into the Ask Alumni platform and know that it's a safe community that's actually there to help you. And so students can search through jobs, skills, pathways that alumni have had, their disciplinary or study pathways that they've had. They can search on a whole range of terms that alumni have posted to find someone that they would, that they'd like to learn more about and to tap into for their career knowledge. So I've put up the link there for that page. There's a whole range of resources too if students want to learn how to do that better. We've got helpful videos on how to have an interview, sort of interviewing conversational interview with a mentor, tips and tricks on how to do that really well. And our team have also developed some podcasts where we're talking to alumni in particular fields about their experiences of entering into the workforce and mentoring themselves. So encourage our students to access those and listen to those as well.
Fantastic.
I'll stop sharing now. Sorry, take it back. So sorry, everyone.
No, fantastic. What great information there. To be honest, I didn't realize some of the things that you talked about were going on. The smart resume for me, as you said, scary but incredible. You can upload your resume and it'll use algorithms to sort of come back to you about what's more appropriate, what's better ways to word things. I think that alone to me is a great research for any grad student or student to use, and it's 24/7 obviously because it's as you said, when they're ready and at the time that works for them.
And we know everyone's trying to fit in their job applications around the rest of their life, so that really works. That you could be doing it on a Sunday night at 8 o'clock. We understand that's going to happen, and you want to be able to do something about it now and feel like you can get a response now. So we've seen a really great uptake. We've got about 1,700 students who've already accessed the platform.
Oh, incredible.
Which is exactly what we want to happen. So I encourage, and if students are in there, so those who are participating or listening to this, if you're in there and you have any problems, do reach out to the staff, come in and chat to someone about it. We're also there to provide that support service in using it. But it's more, you get more feedback than we would be able to provide in a 10-minute feedback session. So, person to person. So it's really sophisticated.
Yeah, no, fantastic. And before the call, I jumped online and had a look at some of the workshops that you guys have put together, and I think there's a couple today actually. But they're really, really interesting about interviewing skills and also, building. I think there's one called selling yourself or promoting yourself. And I was just looking and said, well, these are fantastic, and I think it's really important for our student community to know that the resources are there, because a lot of these resources they're provided by third parties, but you obviously have to pay, and you're not sure about the quality and of the service from these providers. But you guys have actually sourced good software like the smart resume, and you have the team with you to support the students. I think it's really important that we make sure that our students know that all this stuff is actually free to use. That's correct, isn't it? It's all
absolutely. And it's all safe too. So it's gone through all of the university's privacy procedures, and it aligns with our technical requirements. And so it's completely secure, as per any of the university systems when you use your single sign-on. So the data just stays in there for you to access. It doesn't get used in any other way.
Oh, yeah, incredible.
It's a really good tool. And students can upload in any 1 year up to 10 resumes, or up to 10 resumes in each function actually. So you can have 10 for the smart resume. You could upload your LinkedIn profile 10 times. So it really allows you to craft it and use it multiple times. So you might pop it in and take you a couple of goes to get it to a level that you're happy with and get green lighted. But then you might apply for a different job. You want to apply for a particular job and update it. And in that process, want to put it back through the system so you can keep using it. And then it refreshes in the next year. So you get another 10 in your next year. So especially for those students who might be applying for internships or for grad roles, it's really great that there's that versatility with it.
Yeah, and I think, as you know, that any job market at the moment is extremely competitive, especially for people graduating. I think for early entry or returning back to the workforce, it's so competitive. You just need all the support you can get, and if it's there with careers and employability, I think it's such an opportunity for students to take advantage of.
Yeah, well, we just want to provide students with that confidence really to do what they need to do. So provide them with the resources of whatever we can share with them to help them feel better about the decisions they're making, because that is really a large part of their next steps as well.
So actually, Megan, I had a question about LinkedIn. Now, it's not a loaded question. I'm just trying to work out, LinkedIn these days is literally you as a career, a person who wants to establish or further their career online. It's basically a Facebook of your career, is it not?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a bit more well, yes, I guess in some ways it's a social media platform, but you can really use it in a very clever way if you're looking for work, or you're looking to work out where you want to go and what you want to do. It's a great research tool as well. So I guess similar to what I was describing with the Ask Alumni platform, you can, there's search capabilities there. So you can look at other people's career pathways to get a sense of what you might want to do or what you might need. There are skills there that you can identify and understand. People often focus on job titles or particular employers, but particularly at the graduate level, what we see and what we like to see from graduates, I guess, is that you're doing it in a more sophisticated way than perhaps someone who hasn't been in the market before, potentially. So you're looking for competitors, you're looking for depth of knowledge around an employer that will help you stand out in an interview process, that will help you understand it and align your value, find an employer that aligns with your values. So it's just a greater degree of sophistication in your job searching that LinkedIn can support if you're using it carefully. And then too, as a promotional tool for the individual, canny sort of posting and connections, certainly building a network, but doing it with purpose and care, and making sure that you are visible and in a professional way is really important.
Yeah, no, I do see a lot of stuff coming out of your department through LinkedIn. I think, is it Warren? Warren is extremely
active. Yeah.
Yes. It's good. It's really great to see.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and that was a bonus for Warren. That's not part of his job. That's his professional practice. He brings that with him, and that's part of our strength is that we have a range of advisors and team who have they have life experiences as well, and they bring those different things with him. Warren's been in corporate HR and careers guidance for many years before coming to the university, so he brings with him a real edge in that. And Warren leads our graduate research projects, actually, so he's been doing that for a couple of years, and so he's really skilled in that area.
Fantastic. And I think I did also see that one of the workshops or sessions online was about your LinkedIn profile. So yeah, lovely to see that you guys have got a rounded approach to support the students in this time, but in general as well. I think, yeah, it's great to see. So yeah, thanks, Megan. I might take this opportunity to invite Vibol, our GSA staff member, who's looking after the program that we feel is directly connected to employability. Vibol, did you want to talk to us about that?
I absolutely do want to talk to you about that. Hey, so I'm Vibol. I'm responsible for creating and designing this volunteer program that we have that we're going to run at GSA. We're going to start recruitment for this program in July. So essentially what the GSA Volunteer Program is going to be is to get graduate students at the University of Melbourne job ready and basically try to transition them to work. Because I remember when I finished my master's degree, I went straight into work. And for the first year or so, I truly struggled a lot because I didn't really learn those job ready skills at university. All I really did is just did my job. I did my studies and my assessment, but there was no real soft skills or practical skills embedded within the university's courses themselves. So in my first year of work, I did struggle a bit, and then having to learn all these different ways of, how organizations communicate, how exactly what you were saying before, Megan, how you pitch ideas and how you do all these things that are really, that employers and industry expect of university students. I was kind of astounded that there was quite a big gap in terms of being a student and being at work. So the GSA Volunteer Program will absolutely try to embed more of those soft and practical skills into students before going to work. So when they transition to work, it does become a bit more easier. And as well, we want to give our students here just a bit more of a competitive edge in terms of getting those jobs, because the program I've designed is quite immersive and quite, while being narrow, it's quite general, because we go through different sort of departments and different teams at the GSA ourselves, from our comms teams to our engagement teams to the representation team to policy. So we want to give them an absolutely kind of a foot in all the worlds that we are in. So basically looking at holistically what organizations do, as well as all the specific little tasks that we all have to do day to day to make sure that whatever organizations we work for operate to the best of their ability, and that we are supporting students and supporting the people that we need to support during this quite difficult time. So that's essentially our volunteer program in a nutshell. It's going to be quite an exciting thing, and I'm just really, really excited again to be able to impart some of these sort of ideas and experiences that I've had transitioning from a graduate student into full-time employment to the job market, and how you basically should really inspire. Basically, you have to be your own point of inspiration sometimes to get through such slugging times that is job hunting. So we really do want to give graduate students at the University of Melbourne just a little bit more of a competitive edge in terms of being job ready and knowing how to approach employers and industry to make sure that you're going to be heard in that room, or that the skills that you, or at least be able to present yourself as someone that has had some experience at a workplace, at a professional workplace, because again, that's what we really want to embed, that these are professional working skills, which are quite different to, you know, any other sort of skills required in a workplace. So essentially that's going to be our volunteer program this year. And I absolutely cannot start. I'm so excited to start recruiting for it.
Fantastic. Thanks, Vibol. And I think you sort of just touched on it there, that it's part of our support to grad students. And we've heard from the grad students is that they're at an amazing university. They've got all the support mechanisms at uni, but they don't necessarily have the opportunity to be exposed to a working environment before they get into a job. And I think the volunteering program itself allows some experience. I mean, it's little things like interacting in a meeting, you know, knowing how to know when what to say, or when's an appropriate time to be talking about a certain topic, or even you know, in the office, understanding just even phone etiquette, picking up the phone or replying on emails in a professional manner. I think some of those little bits and pieces will be part of the program that Vibol's put together. And Vibol, how long does the program go for?
So it's going to be a 10-week program based essentially 1 day a week of work, facilitated and supported through GSA. And we're going to be working through different sort of streams of the different teams that we do have here, from our comms team to our grad groups to policy. It will be quite a policy-heavy volunteer program, because not many graduate students, or not many students overall, get the opportunity to work on policy, to develop policy, or indeed behind the scenes research that goes behind developing policy. So we want to give that opportunity, because it's quite a competitive advantage to have over other students. And as you were all mentioning before, the job market is incredibly competitive. And so we want to give our graduate students here just a lot more of that competitive edge.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Vibol. And I think I'll probably take this opportunity to talk about another program that the GSA is offering this year, and we've put it together the last 2 years running, and that's our GSA Lead program. And this is a program we've designed to provide postgraduate students an opportunity to find the leader in themselves, whether it's, you know, the leader at the front, leader at the back, or leader at the silent leader, but being very gaining that confidence to be able to contribute, I think, and offer you know, there's a support to their peers or the community group they work with, or even the organization. So I think this is just an opportune time just to showcase this. So we've got a little video in the back here that I might start with and speak afterwards.
If I had to tell another graduate student about LEAD and whether they should apply for it, I would say go for it.
Whether change happens on a global scale or on a more local scale, it has to all start with you and understanding your values and how that relates to your position in leadership.
So I think for me, LEAD has been a really good stepping point, and I really hope to use as much of it as possible in the future.
It gives you access to a great group of peers and a great group of mentors.
And I will never forget that I do not need permission to be a leader.
Great, thank you. So that was a bit cheesy, but we love it because it sort of inspires you to be part of this program. So that those students in the video there were from the first the pilot offering. So that was 2018. We ran one last year, and we're running again this year, hoping to release. Applications will open for July, and essentially it's a program to provide coaching skills. We'll talk about leadership. It's about building confidence in this in the student themselves. I mean, I guess also one of the biggest things is students being together with and interacting with other students they probably wouldn't normally be interacting with on a day-to-day environment, because it could be uncomfortable, or there's a lot of differences between the values of these students, but it actually exposes them to different points of view. And I think that's one of the biggest things that comes out of this program for us is, yeah, that LEAD just again, provide some experience and some internal learnings about them as people to provide them with the confidence and hopefully push them forward into whatever field they want to get into. So that's LEAD. We'll be putting out applications extremely soon. So July, around the June, July time, and we hope to provide the same experience we've gone for 2 years running to the next intake for students. So please look out for LEAD through GSA's social channels, as well as our volunteering program that we've all spoke about, and get involved. I think it's really important to understand that there are other things on campus, you know, whether it be, I mean, we're all here, I mean, all the students are here essentially to get on with their studies and experience the academic life of university, but, you know, we have the support networks of careers, employability and other university areas and support services, but also the GSA essentially are here to complement all the services around the edges and for the benefit of grad students. So I also actually wanted to take the opportunity to maybe throw back to Vibol, if that's possible. Vibol, there are some other avenues for experience for grad students at GSA, aren't there?
Of course there are. So it will be remiss of me not to mention a huge part of my current job, which is within the representation team, which is supporting our graduate representatives. So GSA, we, through our graduate representatives who are students who sit on faculty committees or university committees, essentially they are just legends that are advocating and fighting for students at a university level with all their senior lecturers, with all their, you know, heads of departments, holding their own, advocating and fighting for students. We are also incredibly proud of the work that our graduate representatives do. But essentially, these are incredible skills to have in terms of employability. Being able to hold yourself in a room of people maybe 20 to 30 years older than you, all have 20 to 30 years experience, all experts in your field. Being able to hold yourself in that room is and advocate and get results for students is one of I would think in terms of interpersonal skills. I think they're going to be fine. They're going to have our graduate representatives are probably going to get some really good jobs or become really amazing academics. And I think it's those sort of programs that universities offer and student associations offer that basically means that there are, you know, incredible job building and networking opportunities that we do offer. And it's, again, I'm always astounded and amazed at the work that our graduate representatives do.
Fantastic.
Can I add to that?
Yes, please, Megan, please jump in.
So great to hear of your program. So thanks for sharing. I've learned something today too. But I think you're absolutely right. I mean, we see from reports from employers, so through Grad Australia or through the Australian Association of Graduate Employers, that employers are really looking for skills. You know, in and above the discipline, they expect students to come out with the academic degree. That's a given. It's actually all of the other pieces, the articulation of the skills that's critical to standing out. And you're absolutely right that the skills that they're developing in advocacy roles and in representational roles are on the top, either in the top 5 for what employers are looking for in their sort of in successful employees that they're recruiting. So just to add that in there, that I think you're spot on in terms of those opportunities.
Yeah.
I just want to also do a minor plug for a similar thing. It occurred to me, the university also partners with Study Melbourne to offer the Live project, which closes tomorrow. So there's a time bound for that. But it's also another experiential learning opportunity for students to participate in, where they work with fellow students. So it's open. The Live project is open on the students.unimelb. For international students specifically in later years, so later undergraduate and graduate students, to collaborate with other students from other universities to work on a project in particular, and working closely with an employer, and really brings us, similar to what you were discussing with all those workplace skills that where you get a chance to translate what you're doing in the classroom into the real world, which are really valuable.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, I want to take the opportunity to ask any of the attendees to, if they have any questions they'd like to ask Vibol or Megan while they're on the call. You can always put it through the Q&A section there. Otherwise, you can always send the questions through to info@gsa.unimelb.edu.au, and we'll get back to you and be able to link you up with Megan and her team, especially if it's related to employability. I actually had a question, and I might put it out to you, Megan. I think you touched on it before. I mean, it's one of these. I mean, students we know are always thinking, yes, they think about getting into the university. They think about getting through university, but then there's another sort of like, now I've got to get a job. You know, so that's the normal, I guess, a timeline for any student, really. But what about now? I mean, with COVID-19, is it more stressful? Have you seen more engagement from our students, or I mean, what are kind of questions that are filtering through to your department?
Absolutely. So we're getting those questions from students around what is the market looking like.
Yeah.
There's no crystal ball for that. I mean, as I mentioned, there is a story from research shows from The Economist that, the prospects will be different. So what we're saying to students is the jobs might be different. You might need to sort of really employ your flexibility and your agility in your entry to the market. To have some backup plans is a really sensible thing to do. Now is the time to really look at your skills and your strengths and your values and come up with a couple of different options that you might pursue. So really sort of have alternatives in mind, so that allows you to play that longer game. When you talk about that pathway of coming in and moving out, I mean, when students choose a degree and come to the University of Melbourne, they're already making a really significant career decision. And what we really encourage students to do is not to stop doing that and just do academic stuff, because as you've sort of indicated, and we know, it's not something you can just pop into the last month of your degree before you graduate. You're making it more stressful yourself. So if you're accumulating experiences, building in that practice that you're doing in your study, so really seeing it as being a holistic journey for you. This is your story and your journey, and that sounds really, as you said, bit twee and naff, but it's totally true, because if you can build in those practices of reflection post an experience, whether it be volunteering or even group work in your study, or exchanges that you have in your casual job if you've got it, or any sort of mentoring, if you're building in that reflective practice of what have I learned and what will I take and how will I use this in my next interaction or my next plan, then you're already starting to practice the good things around your career development. It doesn't stop. All of this stuff just accumulates, and you practice it more and you get better at it. There are some things, I'm still a mess before interviews. It doesn't change. Sometimes you can do hundreds of them and lead hundreds of them and still feel nervous about them. It's really just about feeling more comfortable, I guess, with what you're being prepared for it. So, which is why we're encouraging students in the current market to be prepared, to really sort of do that planning piece, to think about where they're going to go and to do their research appropriately. There will be different jobs in different spaces. We're already seeing that with graduate roles, and internships are changing. Employers perhaps haven't cut the numbers, they're just putting the jobs in different parts of the business. And there will be some, and it might take a little bit longer. You might need to think about the stepping stone roles that are built on your skills and aligning your skills for it, rather than going for the job that you have earmarked for yourself as an exit from your degree. So really sort of, again, using it as well as an opportunity to demonstrate how you've come through a crisis that the whole world is going through, and how you've survived it and how you've used it. So really focusing on your articulation of the skills and experiences that you have. Students, one of the key things we see from students at particularly at graduation time, from those who haven't done much work on it perhaps, is that they've perhaps accumulated fantastic opportunities and experiences and skills, but they don't know how to talk about it. They don't know how to show it in a way that translates for an employer to understand and see that fit. So I really encourage students to practice that and to understand that, because, that's really the way to stand out, is to be able to sell yourself a little bit. It's not inauthentic, it's totally authentic. It's really letting yourself shine, and that takes a bit of practice and effort. So this is a good time to do that, but also to have an alternative plan so that they can look a bit broader than what they might have been looking before, for their next opportunity.
Yeah, I think some good points there. I especially picked up on the looking for the other opportunity, and I think you're right. A lot of students have got a fix. They've already mapped out. They're into university life and out of into work, and they've already mapped it out. And I think this situation particularly has said, well, actually, you probably need a plan B, C, so that at least you're still on your way. It might just take a different path. And I think that's a really good message out to students, is that don't be stressed if you can't get to A, because you'll get to A sooner or later. It's just taking a different path. I think.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's the thing about employability, is it's not employment. Employability is a lifetime thing. It's all of the bits you accumulate along the way that make you more attractive for those roles, and more likely to get it or to enjoy it, certainly. So I think that you're absolutely right, because you might take that plan B or plan C pathway and actually discover something new and different that you really wouldn't have looked at before if you hadn't been in this circumstance. So it's really, as much as possible, being open to that agility and opportunity.
Yeah, and I guess even with us as support staff for our students, we've had to adapt and look at different opportunities and be innovative, and and I think that this, yes, it's a world pandemic, and it's not a great place to be in right this second, but I think it's given us opportunity to reflect on, actually, how do we do things differently to be able to reach more people, to be able to provide more services, to be able to connect with people more? I'm sure there's a lot more phone calls to each other happening right now than there have been before. And, I think that's the kind of the thinking process we're trying to instill in not only in our staff, but also our members as grad students. So, yeah, really, really important message there. Thanks, Megan. Anything? Anything there?
Could I just speak a little on opportunity?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so there's been a bit of loss of opportunity for a lot of students. And when I was a student myself, I remember I was chasing down every lead, every little thing that I could get more experience in, that I could learn a bit more in. And I realize now that it's a little bit more harder to do. And I think a lot of students, may feel like less of that hustle to do so. But I would super encourage, what's that saying? Necessity is the mother of all invention. You don't necessarily need to get that job. This could be a great time to think about what starting your own business might look like. What sort of community work and community organizing you could be doing right now. I've always found that within your first job that you leave your university, it's not so much who the employer is that's important, but getting down your work ethic and all of those really important soft and hard skills that will lead you to better and bigger and better things, essentially. Good work always leads to more work. So as long as you can get down that hustle and that sort of work ethic, a really, really good work ethic, I'm sure that a lot of students, even with this terrible time that it is, will be able to, find themselves in a really great positions after, if they can just get their foundations really, really cemented when they're at uni.
That's so true. Well, it's so true. Can I just add just a little anecdote from some what we see in we often see students who've taken off casual work or retail or hospitality work from their CVs when they're applying for graduate roles. And just, I guess it echoes what we hear from employers, is they say, don't take it off, because it shows the work ethic. It shows you can turn up on time. It shows you can be a part of a team. It shows you can do all types of work, that you're willing to, to try something out, that you're willing to, that it's important for you to turn up, and it's important for you to be a part of a business. So, and the customer service. So all of those things, I think, are really, we see it from both ends, not only from the student end, and it's great to hear your version of it, Vibol, but also we hear it from employers. That's what they want. They want to understand what you're going to bring. And it's absolutely that diversity of opportunity and experiences. You can do it in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be in work at the moment. It can be in a whole range of experiences.
Yeah, exactly. And look, I mean, I actually had a question about employers at the moment. And I think you're probably the closest person to them at the moment in terms of what they're, we talk about skills and what they're looking for, but in your experience and more recently and linking with employers, have they changed? Their mindset has changed also. I mean, is it, you said it's not necessarily shrinking, it's just different opportunities, but can you talk to us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so we are. I've got something to share from the top end of town. So bigger companies like, the sort of the Coles, the Oricon, the banks, that sort of thing. They're not necessarily. They're having sort of 10% cuts of their graduate programs, so their formal programs or their internship programs.
Yep.
That's because they work on a longer lead time with their workforce planning. So they're bigger and they're more able to sort of weather, I guess, the storms, the proverbial storm of the current crisis. We don't have as much of a picture. I don't have as much of a picture from small to medium enterprises, but we know that they are also more likely to bounce a little bit better. So again, that will be an opportunity for students to be ready to identify where the growth is immediately after. So there will be growth in different places. There will be some sectors of work that have dropped off completely and may never recover, but there will be other areas where there are injections of funds from government or increase in consumer engagement that mean that there's just growth. And so those who are ready to can jump on that. We have a whole range of resources, actually, I should add, that indicate labour market changes. And there are some, if you come in and have a chat with our team as well, we can talk in much more focused terms around what's happening in the labour market projections for particular fields. So if that's something that students are interested in exploring in a very personal way, welcome to come into our team and share that with the team, and they'll prepare for that conversation, and they can talk you through the different resources available to students to sort of understand a bit more about where the growth might be happening in their disciplinary area, because obviously there are pockets where there's some not happening, and we can't crystal ball gaze, but all I'm hearing from employers in the market is agility, flexibility, that sort of career, the resilience that I guess we were talking about before, that ability to come in and work at what's available, and I think that our graduates in particular are well placed for that, given the breadth of the degree, and those who have accumulated those other experiences are even better placed to sort of really bring that to it. And so much of it is about how they sell themselves and fit themselves to that employer's opportunity.
Yeah. And I guess when you talked earlier about pulling together, you normally have those what do they call employer symposiums or a big
information sessions.
Yeah, and I think that in the past has been fantastic, and it's good to see that now there'll be an online version coming up soon. And it's also positive. It's still positive to know that employers are getting involved. And I think that's sort of one of the big messages I probably want to put to the grad students, that just because we're going through this situation doesn't mean there's no jobs.
That's right. And I think I would really emphasise, this is where the value of a network really helps you. We know there's a lot of jobs that are not advertised, or that they're sort of sourced, or you may find them through different methods than Seek. So that's why I think finding a mentor, whether it's through our program or otherwise, or developing the network through the GSA, absolutely, is a really great time to do that, because you start to expand your thinking, you're starting to connect, and you're still staying in touch with with what's happening in the market directly. So it's a really good time to continue to build networks for that, because I think that's really valuable for the other side of it when you are looking for work.
Yeah, fantastic. Look, I might close the discussion there, and just to say a big thank you to Megan and Vibol for being on the call, and to our listeners out there, where it be the live listeners now or the ones that will be listening soon. Thank you for being on the call. And Megan, did you want to just say a final word from your area?
Thank you for having me. You know, I really hope that there's a positive story in there for our students, I think, and you know, our story stays the same, which is it's so much about the student agency and the way they engage with us. So we encourage you to come in and tell us what you need and share with us your story, and we would like to help you progress in your career development. So thanks to both you, Tevita and Vibol, for sharing and for hosting and sharing with me today. I really enjoyed hearing about what's going on, and we look forward to working with you as we have, but continuing to do that ongoing.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Megan. Vibol, any words from you?
I think my last words are, sometimes students worry about the really superficial things of like job, like who you're going to work for, what sort of like pay or income, or, you know, some of the, I mean, important, but, you know, very material factors of work. But I think sometimes when we just sort of shift some thinking and think about your own sort of narrative and your own story, you know, you're not just a worker, you're not just, you know, an international student or just a student. You're a whole human being that's had about like 25 years of life experience, and hard work, because you've got in here already. There, maybe instead of thinking of like, oh no, my 3.0 GPA isn't going to get me this job, but how about those 5 years that you spent working at Coles? That shows that hard work that you've done. That sometimes those things matter more than just a statistic. So I just want students to realize that there's more to, you know, getting a job than just all these statistics. If you have use your voice and use all that hard work that you've worked, you know, all your life for, these are things that are in your wheelhouse of, you know, being able to get that job. You've made it here so far. I'm sure you can get that dream job of yours if you, just always work hard, essentially. Thanks. And yeah, thanks, Megan, for having a really great chat with us today.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Vibol. And so from us at GSA, I think these sessions are designed to provide information and a discussion support for our graduate students, and partnering with our university friends like Megan from Employability, and also showcase some of the work that that GSA is doing. So to recap, Megan's team have a fantastic suite of support avenues for graduate students. We talked about the studios, the workshops, the smart resumes, the Ask Alumni, but generally just get in touch with them. And you've got the links in the chat, and we'll put them out on when we release the recording. And also, we talked briefly about coupling that support and the know-how and the technical stuff with the skills. So the skills of experience, volunteering, leadership programs, getting involved, being a student rep. And I know that Megan's team also have a group of students, their ambassadors that they use, and I saw some familiar faces through the slide, which is lovely. So from all of GSA, we just want to say we're here to support you here. 10 a.m. Monday to Thursday, we have a session going on, and would love you to send through comments after this, or emails, just say if there's something you'd really want to speak about. But essentially, GSA is here, and obviously the university as a great partner here to support you all. So thank you so much for being on the call, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.